Women and Children First was released in 1980 by Van Halen. It was their third studio album and has went 3 times platinum since its release. And to kick off my track list ranking from worst to best is number 9, Fools. And this song suffers from the fact that this full album listen through was a first time for me, so I have no nostalgia for this, and being an adult in 2023 and not a 15-year-old in 1980 really hinders how I'm going to hear this song, because lyrically I just can't relate anymore to it. I'm sure if I was in high school I could relate to it a little more, but lyrically I can't relate. And it does have a cool blues intro, but over that intro is just a David Lee Roth screeching that really diminishes that intro for me. So not too much going on, nothing I can bite into with this one, so that puts Fools at my number 9. Number 8 is Loss of Control, and I do like how Tora Tora fades into it, and it does have an insane speed to this song, but what really brings this song down is in the middle chorus, I guess you would call it, with David Lee Roth doing the real low Lost Control and then a real high pitch singing of it. The way they layered over each other, it just didn't hit my ears right. It just felt odd. I could hardly get through the song, to be completely honest. It was just a strange tone they went for, which takes me to number 7, which is Tora Tora, and it has some Dark Sabbath vibes. I know it's only like a 30-second instrumental, but it does have a cool vibe, cool feeling, and again, it does lead into Loss of Control pretty seamlessly, and I do like how that flowed together. Number 6 is their most popular song, I would assume, off of this album, and that is And the Cradle Will Rock. Great tone, simple song, effective song. Not much I can say about it. When you think Van Halen, this is the energy and vibe you can get from it. Not their best song, not their worst song, but a standard Van Halen classic. Number 5, which was my favorite song on this album, just knowing the 2 or 3 singles and not going through track by track, is Everybody Wants Some. The way the instruments just build up on themselves and build until you get that Van Halen energy, that vintage feel that I think other songs in this album and other songs in their previous album can start to lack, where this one captures that Van Halen 1 energy to me in a way that I just have a fun time with it. This is another one that, again, isn't super intricate or crazy compared to some of the other stuff on this album. Coming in at number 4 is Romeo Delight, and this is something I've said about a couple songs so far, but the energy, the way the lyrics flow, the cadence, the speed, how quick it goes, it just hits you. When this song gets going, it's going, and it just really packs that punch. I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over with every one of these songs, but that's something they really brought to this album, I think. Just as a first listen through, it just had more to it and more meat on the bone than I got from Van Halen 2. And this song also has a slow down and then build back up. And there's a bunch of songs in this album that do that, where it's got the fast pace and then kind of dwindles off and then just hits you again with it, and they do it very smooth in this song. Cracking the top 3 is Could This Be Magic, and I love that Delta blues style, older blues guitar feel, and it's kind of a palate cleanser. I know it's toward the end of the album, but you go from fast to fast to fast and energy, and this really glides it back down. Great harmonies. I know that is like a staple for Van Halen. It almost has to go without saying that they have great harmonies and great guitar, but they do it great in this one. And this is probably the first song on the album that didn't have David Lee Roth screeching over the top of it, which in parts and snippets I like, but some of these songs it was a little much. Coming in at number 2, that almost took the top spot until the final song came in. Number 2, Take Your Whiskey Home. It's got that Ice Cream Man intro feel, and if you watch my Van Halen 1 review, you know I am a huge fan of that song, so anything they can incorporate that encompasses that, I'm a big fan of. And this song has groove. The other songs are fast, brash, in your face. It just bounces, it moves, and it's one I will go back and listen to again. Some of these album reviews I've done, previous Van Halen albums, the other Kiss albums, there's some that there's maybe a song I would go listen to if it shuffled on, but that's it. These top 3 are ones that I'm glad I did a deep dive on this album, because while I don't despise this album and I can deal with every song, it's not unlistenable even at the lowest part of this. I found some gems in here that I would have never listened to, like this top 2, and Take Your Whiskey Home will now be a song that I do shuffle on. But number 1 is In a Simple Rhyme, and it ended this album off perfectly, and it just took the mellow sides of the album where they did a little slower groove and that aggression that you got, and it just kind of merged it. And I don't have too much to say about it, which is unfortunate because there's nothing glaringly bad and there wasn't anything that just had to be mentioned. It's just a great song. The backing harmonies when he's singing the Angels part of the song, it just flowed. Everything was perfect. There were certain songs on this album that had good rhythm and flow vocally. There were some songs that I liked lyrically, some that loved the energy, some I liked that it was down-to-earth mellow. And this is the song that took all those little snippets of this whole album and put it into one to cap this album off. Well, guys, that'll do it. That's my track list ranking for Women and Children first, but I'd love to know what your thoughts are down below. Give me your ranking. Do you love this album? Do you hate this album? Did you grow up with it? Is there nostalgia there? Where do you lie? I had a better time with this album than I thought. When I think Van Halen, just not knowing anything other than the first album and the hits, I'm thinking this is where they're going to start dipping off, going downhill, then they'll have their little pop in a few albums and then drop back down again. But I was pleasantly surprised that there were a lot of songs on this album that I really enjoyed. Let me know down below what you think. Thank you for the support. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. You guys are the best. Peace.